everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well and having a wonderful we are Tuesday, I believe. We are in Santa Fe. You can probably see the park behind me. They're doing some cleanup here, so Ben is cleaning out his bearings on his skateboard. So I decided that I would do the video that I did last time. I did two when we were here. I believe it was Sunday. And I did start another, but that one just did not, I didn't have enough time. But anyway, the second one, I was talking about some favorites of mine, and the microphone I had then just died. I guess it must have died or been dying at the end of the video before that. Like, I think that was it. And then it, like, I turned it on, I checked, it was still on, and I think it just died while I was setting up for the next one. So I got my morning pages and I've got my journal, because I don't know if I remember everything I said, but I tried to journal about what I was talking about. And part of the reason I decided to journal about it as well is because it was something that I don't normally talk about. Well, I don't say I don't normally talk about it, because I do talk a lot about things that affect me, and about stress, anxiety, and all the different things that have gone on in my life. But this was something that was new as far as, I guess, like a new revelation to me, or new, I guess, new in the healing process, and realizations about things that have gone on, are going on, and why I've always shied away from certain things. So let me see when. The last few days I have been writing like 2 to 3 pages in my journal and 2 to 3 pages in my other book. Hold on just a minute. Alright, I'm back. I lost my phone somewhere. Oh. Wow. Okay. It is a definite brain fog, fibro fog, menopausal fog moment, because guess where the phone is? Right in front of me. Okay. Well, let's get back to what we were talking about. Like I was saying, I've been writing a lot. So, like, my morning pages, there was one night that I think I wrote, like, well, one morning, I wrote 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, about 8 pages, I guess, because I think these ones are from today. So there is some stuff in there, but I think I kind of would go by my journal here, so you kind of see the spread there. I've been wanting to do these vlogs about favorites, and one thing that in the prior video to this one that will come out eventually.
Alright guys, I'm just jumping in really quick. This is Editor Chrissy, and I was wanting to let you know that the video that was supposed to go out prior to this one that you are watching, there was a lot of wind that day, and the microphone got, you could hear the wind through the microphone, plus I was moving it a little bit too much. So I will redo that one, but I'm going to go ahead and put this one out anyway, and then I will redo that one probably sometime this week, next week. So let's jump right back in.
Talking about camping, and towards the end of that video I talked about the wildflowers, the beauty of the wildflowers, and the smell of the sap on the trees, and just being out in nature. And that got me thinking about another favorite, which is flowers, right? I love sunflowers. They're like my all-time favorite flower. If you hear noise, there is some landscapers in the building next door, and even here at the skate park, they're still doing some cleanup. But I had a really hard time ever sharing about things that I loved, about beauty, about really anything. The only thing I ever really shared a lot about was my love of reading, because I was always behind a book, music, because I always had my headphones. So that was kind of just two obvious ones. And writing, which was kind of an obvious one as well. And being in church. Those were the things. Oh, and of course hanging out with my cousin Ish, camping, all the things that we did, right? Well, other than that, even with the writing and stuff, I didn't want to share that I write poetry sometimes. I really liked certain colorful things, right? But I had my room painted black when I was 16 because for whatever reason, I've been of the mind since I was very young. Oh, phone call is coming in. Sorry. All right, I'm back again. I had to move the car a bit and get a little bit out of the shade after the phone call from my dad. And then I put this cover up here because the sun is starting to come in. It's like getting hotter. And so I'm going to try to get this done as soon as possible, as fast as I can. Okay, so like I was thinking about back in the day, back when we'd come school shopping here in Santa Fe or in Albuquerque, which is straight down the interstate, going down from here. There was always a bunch of sunflowers on the side of the road, a bunch of wild sunflowers, just a bunch of together, and they're just so beautiful. And I just loved the look, but I just struggled with the idea of sharing something beautiful that I liked, because I don't know where this comes from, but it was like I was embarrassed. I didn't want the attention of someone, just having to explain why I liked something. Like, I always felt like I was put on the spot, even though maybe I wasn't. I think it was just me, my personality, my whatever. And as a matter of fact, there's some sunflowers over there, little ones. So I never really said anything. I kept a lot of that stuff to myself. I used to write in journals then, and I got rid of most of them. I tore them up, got rid of them, because I didn't want anyone to find like my, read what I was writing about or whatever was going on. I didn't want that, have to explain myself. There was a lot of things that went on in my mind and in my life that I was writing down, and I didn't want to share that with anyone. And then there's another part to this, I guess, because let's go to my second favorite flower, and that'll give you kind of another little background story maybe to the attitude I had. So the other flower I have always loved are tulips. Now, I love the way they look. They're beautiful flowers. But when I tell someone I like those, and I don't know, maybe because they're not bright yellow, because my grandma's favorite color was yellow, and like yellow is such a happy, bright color, and I think part of me just didn't think I was deserving of being happy for some reason. So when I told someone, I remember the first time I ever told someone that I liked tulips, I said something to the effect of, well, because they stand alone. It's one bulb, one flower, usually just there by themselves. You don't have to plant a whole bunch together. You can plant one, and it's fine. Unlike sunflowers, it seems like a lot of them, like quite a few, grow on the same stem. The bigger ones, of course, grow usually one, but they seem to group together a lot. They once you plant a few, the following year you have more, because we had a whole forest of them. And, it's almost like a little community of sunflowers. And with tulips, you have to plant the bulbs and you put them where you want them and all of that. And as far as I know, I don't know if they like, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if they will, what do you call that? Like pollinate for more or whatever, the way like dandelions do, which I love dandelions too. But the attitude of the standing alone thing was my thought that I had to do everything on my own. I had to be strong on my own. I had to take care of everything myself. I had to do whatever. And I had this attitude since I was a child. That stems from a few different things. One was being the oldest. Also, and what comes with that is I hung around the adults a lot. I listened to the conversations they had, and within a child mind, I didn't understand a lot of what they were saying exactly. So I took on the idea that being strong meant you have no emotion, and to be, kind of like the glue of the family, keep the family together. So you always have to be good. You always, and being good meant keeping things to yourself, being quiet, or which I was always told I talked a lot, which I do, but I looked at it as a very bad thing then, and now not as much, which I'll get into maybe in another video. But I really just struggled with what it meant to be okay with being happy. I just wanted to make sure everybody else was okay, and if I, like muted myself, if I made myself smaller, if I didn't cause any drama, wasn't, in any trouble, anything like that. Let me move this, because okay, I don't know if the wind is hitting it, so hopefully it's not, because then this will be like the 5th time I've done this video. So that's kind of the attitude I had. So liking sunflowers was not a thing. I couldn't talk about that. I couldn't talk about all the beautiful things that I liked, all the beautiful things that I saw people wearing. Granted, I struggled a lot with my weight when I was younger, not in the same way that I did as I got a little older, but it started when I was probably about 12 years old. And I'll talk about that maybe in another video. I think I've talked about it before, but now that I've been really digging deep into the reason why I do the things I do, I guess I have realized some things, and so as a very young child, I've shared this before, that I was already what I considered a Christian. I already believed in in the Bible, in God, in Jesus as my Savior. Now, granted, I was not baptized until I was 14, but it was a very foundation of everything I was. And so that was also part of the reason why I wanted to be good and stuff. But I didn't, because of how I heard some people talking about it, because of certain things that had happened when I was younger to family members and things, I took on a different form of that, ideas, I guess. And so I guess some part of me just decided that I was not worthy of beauty. I was not worthy of being loved. I was not worthy of being happy, having the joy that comes from the Lord. I would almost sabotage things for myself. Like when I wanted to do things, go places, I would keep myself at home instead. I would stay behind a book and the headphones, music, books, which I still love. And they weren't a bad thing. It was just that the bad thing came because I was too anxious. I was too worried. I didn't want to embarrass anybody or be embarrassed or cause attention to myself. And because the wind is pretty bad. I hope it's not. You know what? I may have to close. Let me just close this window on my side, and maybe that will deter some of the sound of the wind. Okay. Hopefully that helps a little bit. So I just didn't know how to accept that it was okay to be happy. It was okay to enjoy the beauty of life. It was okay to love colorful things. It was okay to not always have to be dressed in black. But that's what I did. I had my room painted black, like I said. I just had it was a really dark time for me. And a lot of it, I know now, was just part of Satan's plan to keep me from fully being who God made me to be at that time. Now, it's never too late. As long as we're alive, we can still live out the purpose that God has given us. But Satan is always there, ready to get in our way, throw these temptations in the way. And like, my biggest weaknesses are self-loathing, self-hatred, just not taking care of myself, just full on worry and wanting to be the people-pleasing fixer of everything else instead of for myself. Where it would matter even more is to heal myself, bring healing, take care of myself, love myself, so that I can do things for others. So something I wrote down that I said that in scripture, when it talks about, I just bumped the camera, where it says, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, right? And then the second is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. I struggled with that for so long. I still struggle with it a little bit. What I struggle with, not the loving part, because I love people and everything. What I struggle with is the idea of, well, how do I love myself? And then I think, well, am I loving people right if I don't know how to love myself? And so I just, and it's kind of like this battle within myself that Satan keeps me under, because I'm allowing him to keep me under it, because I keep beating into that bad attitude, right? So, I was scared of loving people wrong, whatever that means. I didn't understand it. I was scared that I was going to be, I don't know, like too much, too I don't know if too clingy would be the word, but like to like too needy, too whatever, and giving too much of myself in a situation, in a friendship, and everything, whatever. So I'd completely hold back, and I became this very depressed and negative version of myself, to the point where I struggled with, by the time I was in 8th grade, I struggled with the very real idea of, I don't know what word to use, because I know there's certain things you can't say on YouTube without them flagging the thing. Leaving from this life, I guess. It was, and that's, I loved God with all of who I was. I believed that he loved me. I still do. I believed that he gave me a purpose, and I still believe that. I just didn't believe I was good enough for it. I didn't believe that I was worthy enough for it. I didn't believe I was going to be able to do it. I just saw a tire there in front of me. I was like, what? Someone just parked at the Ben's front. So, so because of that, I projected that out, right? I projected this idea out that because I'm not loving myself, no one can love me, right? Well, looking back now, this is what I talked about in therapy. Looking back, I realized that I did not lack love from my parents or their family members, even other, even friends, even people who hurt me, because we're human and we hurt each other sometimes. And even in the messiness of life, they loved. And it was me who lacked a love for myself. I didn't know how. I always thought I had to be serious and quiet about things I loved and found beautiful. I wrote about it, and I tore those pages and trashed them. No one wanted to know, right? I'm sure I was wrong in that thinking. Maybe people did want to know. Because I think about it now, and I think about the times that me and my mom spent together as I got older, as an adult, she wanted to know things. Like, she was always asking me questions, and we would tell each other stories. We'd do things together. She wanted to be involved in even journaling, and so she has journals. I was so surprised to see how many journals she did keep. She didn't really like to write or read, but she did things that we, as my brother, my sisters, enjoyed. She wanted to be a part of that, and it was to look back on that now. That's love. And so this is something I wrote about the sunflowers. They're bright yellow, happy, stretching towards the sun, standing tall, growing together. And at the time I said I didn't want anyone to know, right? And all, because it was just this bright yellow, glorious thing, it was this happy thing. And I didn't know that I could love this thing. I wanted people to believe, for whatever reason, I wanted people to believe I was mean or unapproachable or whatever, because then I wouldn't get hurt and I wouldn't hurt someone. And I think I was more afraid of hurting people than being hurt, because I thought, well, I'm not really worthy of being loved or taken care of or treated well. So if someone hurts me, it's fine. I'll just deal with it. It's okay. Kind of like the martyr attitude. And like, there's a place and time for some of these things that we're going to go through, because this life is filled with suffering. It's not like we're going to have a perfect life, and we're going to go through things that are really hurtful at times and really hard to deal with and really traumatic. But we can either stay playing the victim and wallow in it, or we can overcome it through the power of Yeshua, of Jesus, through God, through all of the power of prayer, through the power of having community, and through the power of love, most of all. So I figured, because I didn't like attention, I hated attention. I still do. Like, and I love wearing funky earrings. Like, this will come out maybe later on when I talk about favorite clothing and things like that. But I like funky things. But I wore all black and things like that because I didn't want attention. Like today, I don't think you can see all of my shirt, but just have a covered wagon on it, and it just says, please be patient with me. I was born in the 1900s. I would not wear this before, because somebody's going to want to read it. They're going to want to see it. And like, that's the whole point, right? Like, it's like supposed to be funny and all this stuff. And I'm like, but today I was like, you know what? I'm going to wear it. And first I wasn't going to wear it either, because it was tight on me. It was like, but I needed to understand that I don't need to hide anymore. Like, I'm still about modest dress. I'll always be that way. But I wear even when I was 60 some pounds heavier than I am now, I would still wear bigger clothes, like bigger than what I needed, because I wanted to hide, and part of it, I don't want attention. So, see, and I figured if I looked mean, people would leave me alone. Hence why I wore black a lot. Hence why I would wear darker makeup. And I was pretty quiet for the most part in school, unless I knew you, we were friends, and then we laughed a lot. You can ask Lori. We've had our messenger, like FaceTime talks, and girl, she knows I can talk, like, for real. So because of this tendency to believe that I was not worthy of having great relationships, of having this love in my life, of being able to enjoy beauty and just being okay with who I was, I was shrouded in darkness, and I didn't want anybody in my bubble. So I hardened myself. I hardened this bubble around me. I hardened my heart to things, and I didn't even realize I was doing that. And this is the worst part of all, that for me, the thing is, I knew this is what I knew God, the creator of all things, loved me. I felt it every day. I knew Yeshua, Jesus, as my savior. That is an intense kind of love, to know someone died for you. Yet somehow I still believed I wasn't worthy of being loved by other people. I'd begun to understand that is all a part of Satan's plan, to distract me from God's plan for me and the ability to love. Not loving oneself is one of the easiest ways to destroy yourself. Satan wants us destroyed, so we miss out on all God has for us. And I missed out on so much. and got stuck in the regret that only caused more distress and led to negative attitudes, led to sickness, to dis-ease. And I lived so long plagued by a sense of unworthiness and self-hate. This in turn caused my body distress and led to dis-ease. Our emotions truly do come out in symptoms in our body. I am living proof of that. And I'm now choosing to be living proof of how letting go and truly letting God heal me and actually doing my part in it can bring on something glorious. Allowing love in and truly allowing others to love me and loving myself. And there's so many ways to do this, right? So I wrote a few ways, and this one's getting a little long. So I'm going to just I kind of did this color coded thing, sort of. So what I wrote down, my ways that I want to do this, which maybe I'll elaborate on another video. This is like nourishing our bodies, nourishing our minds, and enjoying life. And then I wrote down a few different ways to do that and to live loved. And I also have a scripture here. So what I'm going to do is, because there is a little bit of excess writing in here, I'm going to end this one here. So like I said, my favorite flowers are the sunflower, and they're bright, glorious, lovely, happy. Stare at the sun, reach for the sun. And we need to reach for the sun too. The Son of God, because He is where we find our salvation. He is where we find our hope, and our hope is in eternity, not here. This life is beautiful. It is wonderful. It's amazing. It's wondrous. There's just such great adventures here. And if we just learn how to love ourselves and love others, we can live an amazing life in the midst of all the chaos and all the craziness and all the messiness that evil has out there, because evil is what drives the people who do the things that they do. When we see hurt and you see what's going on in the news, you see what's going on all around us, but God is still good and He still has you. Just hold on to Him. And I will see you guys in the next one. God bless you. Bye.